Making the announcement as the crowd settles into their seats, fanatics begin to find their voice.
That's interesting. Raonic won the toss and elected to receive, and with that big serve you think he'd want to start serving, but I think he wants to play one game and just try to get a little bit of feel for one game in the match before he comes out, so that he makes sure he's ready and warmed up. He doesn't want to play a sloppy service game, and if he's had one game, I think he feels that that'll help him to produce a good service game first up.
Time for some last-minute sustenance for Canada's Milos Raonic, the 21-year-old on the big stage tonight. The butterflies in his stomach will probably feel like bats just at the moment, because not only is he battling against a talented opponent, he's battling against one of Australia's favourite sons for many years, Leighton Hewitt, on court looking to continue the run in 2012 to get to the round of 16, and that would be an achievement in itself if he was able as a wild card to reach the round of 16, the first to do so since Mats Wilander did that in 1994. Third round action at the Australian Open.
Love 15.
Well, it's pretty windy outside, and it does come over the stadium roof and down, and then sometimes can come back towards you as it hits the seats up the other end. So a little bit tricky.
Left near sideline. Ball was called out.
Well, I think this is a strange challenge on the second point of the match. Well, as it turns out, it was worth challenging, but just missing.
Well, he read that. Considering they've never played each other, he seemed to know where Hewitt was going to go with that one. His coach, Carlo Blanco.
Could turn out to be an inspired decision. Carlo Blanco, Raunic's coach since October of 2010. Yeah, the choice to receive could turn out to be a good one. Hewitt down a break point in the very first game, has already saved one break point. Double faulted on the first point of the match, the Australian. And that's a wild one. Raonic has also burnt a challenge. Burnt's probably not the correct word, because he did challenge on the second point of the match, and it was only a couple of millimetres out, but now he's down to 2 challenges for the rest of the set.
A little bit tentative with that slice backhand. He'll be disappointed with the break point effort. Second serve on his forehand. That was a real opportunity he let slip. That one, you see, he had to crouch a little bit to play it.
That's a really strong hold. When you're down 2 break points in your very first service game, no matter how many times you've been there and done it before,
First game.
Might tend to just get the heart racing a bit, but Hewitt comes up with the goods when needed.
Here's the service action of Leighton Hewitt. It's always, throughout his career, been a good serve without being a dominating serve. The thing that helps it is that he's very smart. He mixes it up well, and as we saw in that last couple of points, if he's down a break point, he often does a slider down to the forehand and catches players.
Well, rarely, if ever, does Leighton Hewitt get the ball up over 200 kilometres an hour. This man has got the quickest serve of the tournament so far at 225. Let's see how quickly he can warm up, because this is his weapon right here.
15 love.
Didn't take long.
226. That's the quickest of the tournament with his first serve of the match.
You hear the crowd murmuring when they had a look at the speed.
The other thing, Rolling, that's going to be difficult for Leighton Hewitt, and we just saw an example of it there on the second serve, is because Raonic is such a tall man, and look at where the point of contact is. Look how high the angle is that ball's coming from, and Hewitt had to take that second serve about shoulder height and above.
You reckon he'd be coming down from about 4 metres?
Yeah. Oops.
Ooh, good body serve. But as we've mentioned, he can handle the big servers once he gets his range. I remember in the US Open final when he beat Pete Sampras in 2001, and Sampras probably, well, if not the best server in the modern era, pretty close to it, and he just chopped Sampras up at the US Open, New York, much to everybody's great amazement. Well, all the people in New York anyway. The Aussies gave him a chance.
40-15.
Pretty handy second serve.
Well, it's an easy action that he's got here, and sometimes you see very tall players who don't necessarily have good serves because they sort of muscle it and try to overpower it, but he's got the height and a very smooth action to go with it.
Again, Raonic.
Very convincing opening service game, including the quickest serve of the championship so far at 226 kilometres an hour. He played in the Kooyong exhibition last week, Raonic, and was just obliterated in his match by Marty Fish, I think it was, off the top of my head, and he was crook. Just didn't feel at all well, and that was after winning Chennai. Have you got something dodgy to eat there?
Mm.
No. 15 love.
Just to confirm that Chennai won the tournament there without dropping his serve, and you can see why.
Well, Federer was the last one to do that about 4 years ago on the ATP Tour.
30 love.
I used to be pleased if I didn't drop my serve in a set. The whole tournament.
One thing that's been pretty good for Hewitt so far in his first couple of matches, and the Andy Roddick match was curtailed when the American was injured, but his first serve percentage has been pretty good for him, 55 and 58. Can get a little bit shaky in that area at times.
That'll be the Hewitt game plan. Just move the big man around and try to, the longer the rally goes, the more it would favour Hewitt, as Raonic will be trying to finish it with some big shots. And you see how front on he was there.
Hewitt having no difficulty on his second service game after a tough time on the first, and we're on serve early on. Hewitt leading 2-1.
Hewitt leads 2 games to 1.
Yeah, sometimes, Alan, Hewitt's first serve percentage can actually get down into the 40s, and that always makes life very difficult for him.
Well, I think right throughout his career, 16 years, I can never remember him ever serving in the 70s. The odd time in the 60s, but as you said, it's usually around mid-50s, which you wonder, you know, how is that good enough? As we see Tony Roach there on the left, and Peter Luchak, mum and dad at the back.
Peter Luchak, who played his last match in the doubles yesterday.
Yeah. And he's going to travel, I think, with Leighton and sort of assist in the coaching and hitting partner role. But if Leighton serves at 58-59% in a match, there'd be an excellent chance he would win.
I wonder who they might be supporting. Great atmosphere in Rod Laver Arena on the Saturday night, the first Saturday night of the championships in Melbourne 2012. Peter Donegan, Alan Stone in the commentary box with you. We're on serve early on. Leighton Hewitt, having come up with a solid hold in the third game. Raonic, what can he produce here with the big arm?
For Raonic, if he can't win it directly with the serve, then he's going to try to come up with a early good ground stroke to try to finish the rally before Hewitt gets to move him around too much. There's good footwork there by the big man. That was a talented shot, just a flick of the wrist. Often you don't see the tall players who've got the great groundies, but gee, that was good hands. Coach looks very worried. It's only early days.
That's their job. They have to look worried.
40 love.
217, positively pedestrian compared to that one in his first service game.
Well, not a good ball toss for him there. Got out in front. It's too far forward. You can't hit up on the back of the ball and get the ball to go up and over. You're hitting down on it straight away, and you just can't clear the net, even at his height.
From what we've seen so far in these championships, Raonic tends to serve about 3 times as many aces as double faults in his matches. How good are his wheels?
he can't believe he missed it.
He got there in time, just wide, but that was amazing.
2 games all.
His speed, well, he might be 30, but he's still as nimble around the court as most of them.
Just a little flick here as he comes into view. Just gets the racket low. Look at here, just a little flick of the wrist. It beats Raonic pointless, and he looks across and is very relieved to see that it just missed. Tony Roach, one of the great Aussies of the last 30 years or so in the tennis world.
See, he's taking up what Carlo Blanco was showing us. And the coach's mantra, as I said, you have to look worried. Part of the job description, I think.
He's got to watch that. Be surprised that Carlo Blanco hasn't said be careful of Hewitt's second serve with a lot of slice. He doesn't have a great topspin second serve, so he does a lot of sliders off the second ball to the forehand. Just like that.
That's a really good change in direction from the big man.
Well, it certainly was. I didn't give him much chance of making this shot. But he stayed low, gets back to it, stays low. No wonder he won Chennai without dropping a serve and just played brilliant tennis, apparently.
Let's first time. Let's first time.
Come up with the odd wild one. I've seen a few of those already. 8 unforced errors from the Canadian so far.
Well, Leighton's going to give him every opportunity to miss.
Let's first time.
Well, again, the slider to the forehand.
His first serve percentage is very acceptable at present, 72%. Early going, good signs for the Australian. On serve, 3-2. Raonic, in contrast, rolling, his first serve percentage at the moment is 30%.
Yes, well, it'll need to improve, because if he keeps it around that match level, he won't win. You can see in general play, Leighton's going to make him play more balls, give him some shots with not much pace on them. A few slice backhands as well.
Plenty of Aussie flags flying around the stadium.
It's interesting, the crowd's really warmed to Leighton the last couple of years.
They have.
In his career.
And I think he's matured as a man and as a father. There was a certain brashness about Leighton Hewitt early on in his career that polarised opinion amongst the Australian people. But there has been, I think, a recognition of what he has done for the game. And the one thing that you could never doubt about Hewitt is his fighting quality, and the other thing is about his patriotism. He was the first one to put his hand up every single time for Davis Cup.
Well, he's keen to play in a match in a couple of weeks' time that we've got against China. It'll be down in Geelong. He's put his hand up again for that.
Thank you, sir. Madam, any seats? Any green seats?
It's down in the President's Reserve.
Yes.
That's why there's a few
and strangely,
comments.
That tends to be a bit of a worry at times. They're the ones who quite often hold it up. Well, they're just oblivious to what's going on at the moment. That's the Australian way.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter whether there was royalty coming into the presidential box there. They would be getting the razz as well if they were holding up play.
Well, they've been into the President's room for supper after the completion of the first match.
It was only a couple of years ago that we had Prince William here at the tennis, sitting down in that very area.
Giving himself room there to make that shot.
Again, going at the body, and when it's coming at you at 219 kilometres an hour, there's not much you can do about it.
Well, you got less than half a second before it's onto you from the time he actually makes contact. Just checking with Fergus. He's going to challenge, but more in disappointment than anything else. He had the winner.
Fergus Murphy's not going to overrule on that line, and it was clearly out.
40-15. Hewitt has 2 challenges remaining.
Well, that's another one at 226.
Showing you what he should have done with the volley. That's what Hewitt does so well. Huge serve. He just scrambles it back. Not much pace on it. Raonic goes from thinking he'd won the point with his first serve to have to try to force a forehand with a ball with no pace on it. So he prepares, and without the pace, he didn't control it too well.
Do much about it when it's taking that direction.
Advantage, Raonic.
Yes, that's a fast slider. Usually when you serve out there, you've got to take a lot of the pace off it to get it over that higher part of the net, but that was 194 Ks with slice.
Game, Raonic.
Well, we talked about the fact that that is his weapon. Seems to be working effectively enough at the moment. Had a very good game as far as first serves into play was concerned. So the first serve percentages rocketed up to 56%. And we're on serve at 3 games all. The winner will play Richard Gasquet of France, who disposed of Janko Tipsarevic of Serbia in no uncertain terms today, 3-3 and 1.
Been a little bit puzzled why we've seen a lot of one-sided matches up until this stage in the tournament, particularly in the women's draw, but quite a few in the men's also. Might put that down to early in the year as far as tournament play for the players.
Been
a long year, so some players may not be quite as well prepared as they usually would. There's Beck, Leighton's wife, David Drysdale, the manager, sitting next to her.
It's an interesting point you make, Rolling. Quite often, I think we're used to lopsided results in the first couple of rounds of the women's because there is a big gulf between the top women and those ranked in the hundreds and from about 60 up. But generally speaking, in the men, we get a few upsets by now, and we get some close matches if we don't get upsets.
Wow, I mean, I'm really surprised at this game from Leighton.
15-14.
Errors like that, most unusual for him.
He's done such a good job of returning the thunderbolt serve from Raonic so far, but now on his own serve, a real difficulty. So often it happens in the 7th game.
And again, he goes with the old favourite, the slider, gets the short return, and this time gives the ball a little bit more air. No way he wanted to mess with the net again.
An unfortunate way for the break to come. A double fault from Hewitt. The Canadian, at a vital time, gets the first break of the match and leads 4-3.
It'll be one of the worst games I've seen Leighton Hewitt play.
Just came out of nowhere.
3 ground stroke errors and a double fault. I mean, he just really... Raonic didn't even have to do much.
And it's so late in the set now that it's very difficult for Hewitt to do anything about it. We were talking about Pete Sampras before. Milos Raonic says his idol was the great American. Probably got a few in that regard who would join him of this ilk, who saw Sampras towards the end of his career as they were growing up, and they tend to be images that are burned into your mind at that age. Out come the new balls from the ball kids, who do a fabulous job. Never even notice their presence, but they just do it so well. That's probably the best compliment you can give them. You don't notice them.
Love 50.
Oh, it's catching. As you said, he got to the round, fourth round here last year, and then after this tournament went and won San Jose. But his year was really ruined by a hip injury. Had to have surgery midway through the year.
30-15.
Well, that's even quicker. 2:28. Keeps on raising the bar as far as the quickest of the tournament is concerned. It's getting up to the stage where you can barely see it, let alone play it. And all of this at night when the balls are generally a bit slower.
Well,
40-15.
just hasn't settled down, Hewitt. I mean, he served a double fault to start the match. Got down 15-40 there and was lucky to get out of it. And Raonic moving forward, and Hewitt missed a little chip shot of his backhand, which he usually plays well.
Game, Raonic.
2:27. So he's come up with a 2:27. A 2:28 in that game and a couple of 2:26s so far. No wonder he's 5-3 up. It's an interesting coloured shirt that Raonic has got on. They wear all sorts of colours on the tennis court these days, of course, but it is so similar to the colour of the tennis ball.
Hayton's serve looks like it's coming out of a pop gun, doesn't it? Compared to the bazookas that are coming down at him.
Just with that colour issue, is that any issue at all when you're out on the court? Is there a possibility you could lose the ball in the colour of his shirt?
Well, there's a slight possibility. If there was more of it, I think it's just probably not quite enough. Shirt's not quite big enough, I think, to cause a problem. And most of the time the players are stretching the racket out, so they're hitting the ball away from the body rather than in line with it. Another fairly ordinary serve from Leighton.
I guess on reflection it might have been a silly question from me, because I just thought that predominantly in the older era the tennis balls were white.
Yep.
You wore white all the time.
A good body serve.
40-15.
Again.
14-7.
Well, showing us his versatility there. That was a really good touch. Don't usually associate touch with the power hitters. And Leighton out wide, so an appropriate time to play it. Just gets there but can't clear the tape.
Hewitt challenging the call, left baseline. Ball was called in.
He's got to be absolutely certain about it. Stopping the point. The challenge doesn't go your way. There's no replaying of the point here. And he was right. 16 millimetres. So that's a bit more like it from the Leighton Hewitt serve, but the damage may have already been done. Raonic will be serving for the set in a moment at 5-4.
Sitting there with his cap on backwards. He made another fashion statement, didn't he, years ago?
Yep. Have a look at that. There's a 38 km/h difference in their fastest serve, and their average first serve speed, there is a difference of 48 km/h.
Well, Leighton can serve a bit better than this, no doubt about it. As far as pace, there's not much on the first, and the second one's been a little substandard. There's Beck. 3 kids they've got now. Tony Roach in front, just a little bit of support there.
Been married for 6.5 years now. It was one of the big stories when it all happened.
There's a lot of cloak and dagger stuff about where the wedding was and where the reception was in Sydney and all of that.
And the famous actress and the famous tennis player over the years, there's been a few of those combinations. Leighton Hewitt much better on serve that time, but now Raonic looking to fire a couple more down and serve for the set.
Leighton guessed right, but they just couldn't quite handle the pace of the serve.
By my calculations now, Raonic has the 6 fastest serves of the tournament, and 5 of them have come in this match.
Gee, I mean, that's really impressive movement. 1.96 metres tall, and he skipped around that return. So brilliant footwork from him here. Those little adjusting steps there, just steps back with the right foot to give himself room for the swing.
His power game, not only in the service area, but with the ground strokes as well, has been a very big contributing factor as to why he stands on the verge of the first set. 3 set points for the Canadian to make the first statement. Well, that's a pretty dominant set from the big man. Hewitt's got a big task on his hands tonight. Coach Gallo Blanco looking quite satisfied, and well he might be after 38 minutes. Raonic takes the first set, 6-4. The big serve has served him well, but it's much, much more than that that has taken Milos Raonic to the first set against Leighton Hewitt. Nothing that Leighton's not accustomed to, though. He wouldn't know what to do if it was straight sets, so he's got to go to 4, maybe then some.
First
ace of the match for Hewitt.
Well, that service game that he lost in the first set, though, really, it was a very poor game from him. 3 errors and a double fault. Now, that's not going to happen again, I wouldn't think. I mean, he may lose a serve, but it'll be... But it'll have to be good play from his opponent with shots like that rather than a poor game from Hewitt.
14 winners to 4 in favour of Raonic. Unforced errors, though, 14-9, also more by the Canadian.
Again, using that wide serve to open up the court. Followed his forehand in. Closes in for one of his favourite volleys, the drop volley. Plays it as well as anyone.
Wait, please.
Fanatic's trying to lift Leighton.
He's often said he feeds off their support. And the rest of the crowd, for that matter. No real issues for Leighton Hewitt in the opening game of the second set. Unlike his first service game in the first set, he was down 2 break points.
But this is what Leighton's up against these days. He looks overpowered. And so he's fighting a losing battle as far as his career goes. Every time he comes out now, he's up against players who hit the ball harder than he does. He struggles to generate the pace to stay with them. He's got the consistency to out-rally them and the court speed and the heart. But they've just got the bigger games these days.
Hard to believe it's going to be 10 years in the middle of this year since Leighton won his last Grand Slam in that famous Wimbledon final when he went in against a man who was referred to as David Who. Nalbandian was his name, and he's gone on to be a classy player in the decade since.
He just can't find his range tonight. I'm a little surprised, really. And that was a routine forehand for him normally. Just looking around, you can see there's wind just ruffling his shirt. It's quite breezy outside, so it's apparently causing him a few problems here. Raonic is just hitting through the wind.
Please.
Well, there's a better forehand that pushed Raonic back and forced him into error there.
Steady 15.
You can see he had a late backswing there.
All of a sudden,
30 all.
his serve is under pressure, mainly through his own doing.
Well, a half chance, you'd have to say. Good attacking point there.
14-30.
Wanting to stay back and rally. Second serve was good enough to draw a short return. And he moves forward very smoothly. Quick acceleration in. And there's a copybook. That's a perfect technique on that volley. Meeting it out in front.
Game, Raonic.
It might have been just half a chance, as Alan Stone said, but that's all it turned out to be at 30 all. And the big man sees his way through to level up early going of the second set. And it looks like Mia might have been doing some artwork of Dad.
David Drysdale got there's a cruise. That's one of the other kids.
Yeah, Mia's 6, Cruz is 3 years old. Nothing yet from Ava, but she's only 1, so probably a bit difficult. Maybe a good idea not to let her near the scissors at this stage.
15 love.
Yeah, she's only with the plasticine at the moment.
Yes.
That's 163. I mean, I'm just a bit puzzled at his serve tonight. There's no zip on it at all. Plenty of zip on this guy's forehand.
That's the 7th forehand winner from Raonic.
Quick racket head speed there, whipping through the ball.
This second set, you feel, rolling, is so critical for Leighton Hewitt. If he was to go 2 sets down, it's hard to imagine that you could see Raonic losing the next 3 sets.
Well, it is. I mean, Leighton is just not timing the ball well enough tonight. I mean, sometimes you'd go down a couple of sets, but you're right in it, and there's only a point here or there. I feel he's struggling a bit tonight. Extend the rally there helped.
(40-15).
Just standing a bit too upright to pick up that slider.
volleys well.
Oh, that's brilliant tennis. He just stepped in onto that serve there. I mean, he is impressive. And when he comes to the net, he's an imposing figure. As you said, he does volley well. Hammers this one. Deliberately slices that short so that Hewitt can't run onto it. If he'd volleyed it into the corner, Hewitt could have run along the baseline and had a pass. But he can't move up to a short sliced volley.
There's the first cry of the night from Leighton Hewitt. He's doing what he has to do at the start of this second set. On serve 2-1 to the Australian.
Leads 2 games to 1.
Well, we've talked about Milos Raonic and his big serve. Let's have a look at the time for a start. As Alan Stone said, it's around about half a second that you've got to react. And they're all the aces.
Wow. Pretty quick, isn't it? Well, around half a second. And that's time and time again. It's not just one every now and then.
Most of them coming down the middle as well. There's the come on in slow motion. We didn't hear it, but we're good at reading lips with Leighton Hewitt over the years. We know that he knows that it's a big point when he lets one of those go.
Time.
Signs encouraging then at the start of the second set for the Australian supporters in the crowd. The Canadian supporters, and we've seen a few Canadian flags just dotted around the stadium, would be on pretty good terms with themselves as well, because their man has taken the first set 6-4. 21-year-old Milos Raonic.
Take your seats quickly.
He moved to Canada at the age of 3, by the way, after being born in Montenegro.
Thank you.
Here he is serving at 1-2. Unlucky. It would have been a clean winner.
It's hard to get successive points against this serve. Hewitt got a bit lucky with the first one to get to love 15, and then in an instant it's back to 15 all.
Exactly what we were talking about just a moment ago. Down the tee, 224. There's simply nothing you can do about it. All Leighton can do is watch the ball sail by, not even in the frame. Ball kids need to be pretty quick on their feet too. It's going to be wide.
Long been one of Leighton Hewitt's favourite shots, the lob. And even a player as tall as this, the crowd appreciating that.
30 all.
Perfect. Another one of these half chances at 30 all. And snuffed out almost immediately.
40-30.
Most of the time his go-to serve has been the one down the middle, and that time coming up with the fast slider that Alan Stone was talking about before. 184 for a slider. That's hard to handle.
Game. Raonic.
There's the one down the middle. Another second service ace.
2 games all.
Well, I must say, as well as this great serve, he's got a pretty sound temperament, this young guy. He stays pretty calm. Doesn't seem to, at this stage, get flustered by too many things. The big occasion hasn't been a problem. He's really lapping it up. And on this great court, Rod Laver Stadium.
The great man himself is going to be here during these championships, which is wonderful news. And there's going to be a lot of people very happy about that, but one man who'll be as happy as anyone is Roger Federer, because he idolises the great Rod Laver. There was that touching moment when he accepted the trophy a few years ago when Rocket was here. It ended in tears of joy.
Not a bad idea, maybe hit down the middle, not give Raonic too much time to step across, and with those long reach, those long arms that he likes to play the ball away from his body, get it in a bit closer, cramp him up a little.
Alan Stone was talking before about the half chances that Hewitt has had on the Raonic serve, and that's all they've been, half chances. He hasn't been able to create. He was only a metre away. Couldn't get near it.
He's just not allowing Hewitt to get away with average second serves.
Well, that was 144. Deserved the treatment, really, right in the hitting zone. Really significant point here now. Second serve. Could be a very hard road for Leighton Hewitt if Raonic is able to do the business here. Go up a set and a break. It's hard to see, even with a man with such legendary fighting qualities, that he'd be able to come back from 2 sets to love down, as we mentioned before.
Switching the placement of his serve there to the backhand corner. Raonic, I think, might have been waiting for those ones down the tee that he serves on the big points. So good change up there by Hewitt.
How the heck did he do that?
Well, that's brought the crowd to life.
Advantage.
Somehow he just managed to get the racket in the right place.
And then managed to get it out of the way.
That's just too good. Lovely clean strike there. Generates easy power on those ground strokes. It's similar to the serve.
Well, the winner count really tells the tale at the moment why Hewitt is up against it, even though the score is close. Winners at 22-4.
Please.
Just hanging on here, Leighton. He's used to that. He's been doing it all his life on the tennis court, and very successfully in most occasions.
Raonic would have the same feeling, no doubt. Defending superbly. Gee, you've got to admire the way he just hangs in there. Hewitt sees off a break point, and we stay on serve. He leads 3-2 second set. He does not know what he's done, does he?
Typical game of Hewitt on serve, down a break point, and gets out of it with a change up with the service placement, and then some good scrambling and just not overplaying, just trying to give his opponent a tough volley, which drew the error. So a tough hold from him, very important. Look at the direction of the serves, the fastest serves. 2:15, pretty much. 2:28, well, that's the fastest to the forehand, and 2:15 to the backhand.
Bit of a difference there, especially in the average speed.
Yep.
Raonic 212, Hewitt 168. Well, the young man from Canada knows that this win is going to be hard earned. Even if it does happen to be in straight sets, he's going to have to work like the devil for it. Hewitt will keep trying until the very last point of this match, as he always does. Never one to just let things drift by. And it's Hewitt with the advantage of serving first in the second set, so he's got his nose in front. Raonic serving 2-3.
It seemed a late call.
We surely should have a look at this.
So Raonic challenging the call. Left service line. Ball was called for.
And it was.
Love 15. Raonic has 2 challenges remaining. All.
He gets a good snap On his serve, gets the wrist snap there that helps the speed. It's all about racket head speed that makes the ball go fast.
Oh. On the full run.
I think just underestimating Hewitt here. He a little casual there. He thought he had control of the point and the net covered. Keeps the pressure on though.
So we're at exactly the same point that we've been on the first two service games of Raonic in the second set. We're at 30 all. Both times he's been able to come up with a big serve on one of the next couple of points and manufacture the hold.
Too big and too strong from that point.
40-30.
Terrific second serve. Look at the placement on that. And then not giving Hewitt any time to really recover. A good defensive lob, but I thought of just sliding the smash back in for safety.
Could have gone either way, but yet again, that is 3 times now we're describing them as half chances. And that's what they have been. Only half a chance, not taken advantage of. Hewitt couldn't get himself to the point where he was up to a break point, still none for the match.
Well, he even had 15-30 there, so an even better chance than the 30 all. But again, the serving, the aggressive play. And he's just really hitting this forehand well. Raonic, anything short, he hammers and follows it in. Rushing Hewitt at all times.
There's been a few of those tonight.
Love 15.
Uncharacteristically, 5 winners, 13 unforced errors for the Australian.
And I think Tony Roach should be pretty worried at this stage about how his charge is playing.
Don't be too worried about that. He timed that beautifully.
15 all.
As we watch here, slow-mo, how he hits through the line of flight there. The racket head continuing in the direction where he's aiming for as long as possible.
It's not all about power. 136 can be as much about placement as well.
Hardly hear the sound of this being hit. It's got so much slice on it. And just rockets off the court.
(40-15).
impact under the pressure in the second set as yet. We remain on serve. It's 4-3 Hewitt's way.
Hewitt leads 4 games to 3.
Well, he managed to get a couple of free points on serve there. That's what he needs. Take the pressure off the second ball, which has been a bit ordinary tonight and is being attacked by Raonic.
Can you see him manufacturing a break here, Rolling?
Well, as we've said, 30 all. He only needs to get a fault maybe served to him at 30 all, and he can come up with a good return. We're not sure how Raonic will handle the pressure if he gets into a bit of trouble on serve, because it hasn't happened yet. That's what Hewitt's going to keep to. He's going to try to build up pressure on the returns as the match develops.
Is Leighton Hewitt going to be able to just take that next step on the Raonic serve? He's put himself into a position where he might have been able to do it. Might being the operative word, because he hasn't been able to. It's tight. Just the one break of serve in the match so far, and that came in the 7th game of the match when it was a very uncharacteristic service game from Leighton Hewitt. So there's not much in it. It feels as though Raonic has got it where he wants it, but that could change in a heartbeat. Especially if he comes up with shots like that.
Love 15.
Well, that's what you want, the opening point against your opponent's serve. He's now got to play 2 good points to get in front in the game, so that puts him under a bit of pressure.
It's
doing that well, though. Heavy serve into the backhand. Hewitt going for his cross-court return. But Raonic is doing a very good job of getting into position here like that and then hammering his forehand down the line.
Same as last game. 15-30 again.
Well, keep knocking on the door. It's going to open eventually. And that's how you break serve. You build up pressure over the length of a match by just getting the ball back, by forcing, and eventually you'll break through. He really got what he wanted there, a shortish ball. And that's been one of his best shots right throughout his career, the two-hander down the line.
Well, it's nothing that they're not becoming used to, especially in the second set.
Roach, can't believe he missed that one. They would have given him 2 break points. Raonic is giving him a bit of opportunity this game. He can't find the first serve. Well, he's missed 3 forehands down the line into that backhand corner.
So here's the opportunity that everyone's been waiting for a long time. The first break point of the match for Leighton Hewitt. This could change the feel of things dramatically. So late in the set as well. It's called long. Raonic has to challenge.
Right baseline.
But if the challenge is not successful, this is big. Right for the roar from the Hawkeye decision.
Yep.
It's out. And Hewitt's got the break.
Hewitt leads 5 games to 3.
Well, Hewitt able to take advantage there of Raonic not getting the first serve in. And he returned the second ball well, and he was a little shaky on that forehand down to the backhand line. Backhand corner, he missed 3 of them. His best forehand is when he's in his backhand corner and he hits it down the line in front of him. This one here, when he goes off towards the backhand, he hasn't been hitting as well. And he looks starting to get a bit irritated about it. Well, that one he gave it a little bit more air, a bit more safety.
If Leighton Hewitt was able to glance up to the screen, which he wasn't, to see that vision that we just saw, it'd be something that would please him. It's a good decision as it turns out, but it was a near thing.
30-15.
Raonic starting to look flustered for the first time in the match.
He anxiously followed the flight or the bounce of that.
They're on their feet, and it's only set point.
Well, about 20 minutes ago, you wouldn't have thought that Hewitt would get to set point. And the typical tough Leighton Hewitt point there. And that's his reaction. Veins standing out in his neck.
We touched on before how important it was for Hewitt to win the second set. He's on the verge of doing just that. It's all locked up after an hour and 18 minutes. Leighton Hewitt gets the late break in the second set, and it's going to go to at least 4, and the crowd just loves it. So, the fighter that we know he is, that instinct has come to the fore for Leighton Hewitt. Who's it going to be? He carries the momentum into the third set.
Well, it's really got Raonic's attention now. I think he thought at the first set he was sort of cruising a bit, but now he knows he's got a real match.
15 love.
Leighton almost, he's looking, inquiring glance to the umpire.
It's one of those ones that he doesn't want to risk it on the first point of the set. Leaves you vulnerable later on when you might need it.
Well, looked pretty good there.
The other thing we noticed at the end of that second set, towards the end of the second set, was for the first time in the match, Raonic was upset. He was frustrated and showed visible signs of it.
Well, he said, muttering something towards his coach's box.
Steady 15.
That's the forehand that he hits better when he goes into the opponent's forehand corner. He hits it better than when he's going to that backhand corner. That's the one. If I was late and I'd look for that a little more, give him the other one, because that's the one he misses anyway. So try to sit on his favourite one. His doubles partner. Now that shot caught Raonic. He wasn't ready for it. And watch this. Look at this. Straight down the line. That ball does not deviate. Look at that. Stays down. Head still. Lovely balance.
So this time, Raonic, for the first time in the match, has the advantage of being the first server in the set. It's only a tiny advantage, really, if you hold your serve, but it's just that psychological thing of having to play catch-up all the way.
Yeah, I think it's good. I really do, because you hold your serve, and that's when you change ends all the time. 1-love, 2-1, 3-2, so you get a bit of a break. Your opponent holds his serve. It's an even game, so he has to, if it's been a tough game, there's no break for him, no rest. He's got to come out and try and then fire up again for a possible break.
love. Well,
he's really cut out some of those errors, some of those ordinary looking shots that were there for the first set and a bit. The crowd was a bit quiet there. They were thinking, not a good looking night for our man, but never underestimate him.
If you wanted an illustration of his defensive skills and how they keep him in the match, he's only had 7 winners to this stage of the match, which is an extraordinarily low number compared to his opponent's 29, yet we're still level.
Well, just a bit eager to get the ball down to the forehand corner there. Rushed that one. Shouldn't hurt him at 40-love up.
Game, Hewitt.
Mum and Dad.
Yep. And Sherilyn.
1 game on.
Boy, they've seen a bit of tennis in their lifetime.
They sure have. Right from the time when their son was about 8. And a poster of Andre Agassi on his bedroom wall.
With or without the wig.
Let's first term. Fifteen love.
Lovely extension up to the ball, and then that good wrist snap. So he has his index finger right down the handle of the racket.
30 love.
Well, this could do his confidence the world of good. Just get a few more aces rolling off the racket again. He had 5 in the first set, only 3 in the second. Raonic playing in just his 5th Grand Slam, his 2nd Australian Open. He's only ever been to 5 sets once. So if it goes the distance, you know that Hewitt's got the advantage there. That's a long way off yet, of course. But Hewitt's been there 48 times. So we stay on serve early on in this 3rd set. 1 set apiece, and Raonic leads 2 games to 1 in the 3rd. And the point I was looking at there with the 5 sets rolling, we said during the 2nd set that I thought it was so important for Hewitt to win the 2nd set. I think it's changed now. I think it's really important for Raonic to win the 3rd set.
Well, I think so, and he's just gone off the boil a little bit, I think. I mean, that was a good service game from him, but by and large, he doesn't look quite the same confident player that he did for the first set, and a little bit when Hewitt was out of sorts. He must know now that Hewitt's picking up his play, having seen the 2nd set disappear. So it wouldn't surprise me to see it go to 5.
Well, if it does, Hewitt's going to be an overwhelming favourite. I think even if Raonic wins this set, if it goes to 5, that advantage is going to be a big factor. Saturday night at the Australian Open Championships, the first Saturday night. This time next week will probably be acclaiming the women's champion. Nighttime finals Saturday night and Sunday night of next week to see who will take the Daphne Ackhurst Memorial Trophy to the dais, and the Norman Brooks Challenge Cup for the men. Let's be honest, it's probably not going to be Leighton Hewitt, even if he does get through this match. His best opportunity coming in that epic final in 2005 when he lost to Marat Safin.
To see any of the big 4 not being in the final in the men, and Djokovic for me, and the women, whoever catches fire from about Monday onwards,
yep,
she'll win the women's.
Yeah, women's very much open at the moment, but Djokovic certainly favourite in the men's. the way the draw is structured.
30-15.
Nadal and Federer can't play in the final. They're heading towards what would be an unbelievable semi if they did make it that way.
I'm amazed that he's missing some of these balls. And he just looked skyward then, because there's no flags or anything in here to check the breeze out. But he's played so many matches on this centre court, he would know it better than just about anybody.
I'm not sure where they'd put them, Alan, in the stadium, but would it be an advantage to the players if there was some sort of indicator of the breeze round about court level?
I don't think anybody's ever asked for it, but it's an interesting one.
Been a little trouble on serve at 30 all, but no real difficulty.
Well, that slice serve out wide's working for him. He's really stretching Raonic out wide there, winning a lot of points with that. I think the Canadian will have to take a step more to his right on that juice court there to let Hewitt know he's ready for it. First times he's made that forehand down into the corner.
15 love.
Well, of course, in a different life, he and Kim Clijsters were together, and there's a touch of Kim Clijsters in this.
Wonderful depth there on those drives from Hewitt.
15 all.
And catching it up off centre, more towards the top of the frame there, causing the mishit. Just that air of confidence that he had early in the match.
Perhaps a little bit of fatigue.
Correction.
Ooh. He was going to, and then he pulled the call.
He choked, didn't he?
Yeah, it was.
Well, Leighton didn't challenge.
The big man from Canada has got a bit of a problem on his hands.
Leighton just chipping away.
Look at the body language there.
Yep. Shoulders are slumped a little. Typical Hewitt point here, just moving the ball around. And you see the clenched fist. He's got a bit of a sniff here, I think, that feels he can maybe even go on and win this match. Annoyed with himself because at any moment Raonic could come up with a huge serve, and then that point would be snuffed out as well. That second break point. This is the one he wanted when he was right in the rally.
Well, there have been precious few of those big serves lately. Now would be the time for the big man to produce one. Qualities from Hewitt coming to the fore again. Look at that. He's doing the Rocky dance already. He senses something here, and so does the crowd. Raonic is in a bit of bother now. Hewitt leads 3-2.
Well, such a smart play there. Just making sure he kept the ball in, and then when Raonic came forward, he didn't try for a big pass. The glory shot, he just made sure he stretched the tall Canadian, giving him a tough volley. He was there to cover it if Raonic made it, but he didn't.
Margaret.
So again, the smartness of Leighton Hewitt. Good get there, slides across the court. And on this one here, he gives it plenty of air, just wants to stretch his man there and see if he can his movement.
This is the reaction of a man who's practically just won the match.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he feels what you were talking about, Alan Stone. There's been a complete change in the momentum here. He's got a big sniff now.
Just look at those eyes.
Well, Leighton Hewitt's moving faster, and he's not the only one. Seems as though there's a bit of spring in the Australian step, whereas the body language of Milos Raonic just at the moment, anything but positive. The dynamic of the match has certainly changed dramatically. It's a mirror image of what it was midway through the second set. And all of that because Hewitt was able to win that second set after getting the break in the 8th game. Now he's got the break in the 5th game of the 3rd. Well, that's good signs from Raonic. A bit of positivity. It's been a little reactive so far in this set.
Well, I think we said he won the first set because Hewitt played a really bad game on his serve, and we'd be very surprised if we saw another one as poor as that. And we haven't seen one since.
So all of that means that Raonic is going to have to force the errors from Hewitt rather than waiting for them to happen.
Yep.
this is better. This is about as positive as we've seen him in the last half hour.
Well, he was prepared to work for the point there too. Didn't go for too good a shot too early. And Leighton scrambling from side to side. And finally just forced into error on that one. So a better constructed point there from Raonic.
He looks like a different man in this game. Maybe the sit-down did him the world of good. Bit of time for introspection. And he's come out so positive.
Well, Hewitt hasn't played a bad game. It's really been 3 fine points from Raonic. It's taking a little bit more time here.
Goodness me.
That was a disappointment.
It was. And as you said, it wasn't bad play from Hewitt in the first 3 points of the match, but a disappointing way for it to end. So Hewitt, after getting the break, suffers a serious letdown. Broken to love. And things are back on an even keel in this third set again. Well, blink of an eye.
It just works so hard to get the second set and then the first break in the third. So it's a major setback to drop his serve immediately. You can just consolidate that 2-game lead. That'll be a big lift to the Canadian, that immediate break back.
New balls here.
Just doesn't like to hit that forehand from his forehand corner down the line. He likes to go back across court. When he's going to play that one down the line, doesn't quite get the same spin, the same control. No doubt about that. Raonic lifting up on that, didn't stay down. Notice here, gets up on his toes, lifts the body, which lifts the arms, which lifts the ball.
None too pleased.
A good safe volley there. It was below the net. He couldn't go for too much. Hewitt on the slide.
Done that a few times tonight.
Left. Second throw.
Couldn't be more even.
Well, there's that serve we were talking about earlier in the match where he gets the kicker in, and it's up around head height for Hewitt.
As he throws it more, ball toss more over his left so he can get the bounce, and then he gets the forehand where he wants it with the cross court. And doesn't really move out to that, just a big step. And had to play the ball too far from the body, no control.
Been pretty solid in that area all night. Better than 50% record of the net for both players. That's a good hold for Raonic. Taken to deuce, but after the successive breaks of serve, now he's got that advantage of being in front again. Back 4-3.
Interesting to see he hit those kick serves. As we have a look at his shot placement, 2/3 into the backhand corner, or the backhand side. I wouldn't mind him going for a few more down the line to Raonic's forehand, which is where he misses, particularly if he goes back down to the forehand, backhand line. No drop shots, there's no shots there indicating he played little angles or short balls. But interesting that he hit 2 kick second serves to finish off the game there, as you said, to get it up high so that he could get the short return to use his forehand. His first serve percentage has been as good this last half of the match.
Currently stands at 52 for the match. In this set, 54. Clear sky with just the odd seagull. There have been quite predominant visitors here over the first 6 days of the Australian Open Championships. Many of them have left their mark in more ways than one. 3-4. Hewitt serving, third set, 1 set apiece. It's tight.
50.
So much of the story of this match is going to be told in the subsequent 2 or 3 or 4 games.
You know, he's had such good success with the slider. Manoeuvres him. Yes, that last ace, the first point was down the centre, but catching Raonic.
could have gone anywhere, and it fell dead for a winner.
Well, a rash shot there.
Not for the first time tonight.
I mean, the first backhand in the rally, and he tries to hit a club a winner down the line, changing the line of flight as well.
He's had 36 winners, but he's had 38 unforced errors.
Every now and then, Leighton throws in a surprising error. Well, I've been watching him for so many years. I'm just not used to seeing him hit shots like that.
That'll do, though. Rock solid service game from Hewitt to level up at 4 games apiece. Is that just simply Father Time marching on and battling against him?
I would think so. He just doesn't move and react quite as quickly. But I like that service game because he changed the attack of the first serve to the backhand. He's had lots of slices to the forehand, and he's had Raonic looking for that one. And so Hewitt caught him twice with the other.
He could certainly do with the big arm working in this game. This is absolutely critical for Raonic in particular. You get the sense that his best feeling of winning the match is to win this third set. If Hewitt takes the match, his odds of winning will blow out dramatically. Bit of a brain cramp there.
Well, that's a shot you play when you're starting to run out of options. You're not sure where to hit the ball. And they quite like that. It's a good sign. It means your opponent's he's a bit worried. He doesn't know what to do, so he plays a low percentage shot. Bottom of the net.
Yes!
Well, anticipation from Hewitt. Split step from him, and you see he was quick to read that and move out. Caught it nicely in front. One of his best returns.
Warning bells here for Milos Raonic.
Pretty good second serve. Hewitt knows it's an opportunity lost.
The opportunity still exists, though. Biggest point of the match right now. That's a good time to do that.
Well, it was gutsy of him. He did it the previous serve to the juice court and got burned. So, White goes for this again. Daring Hewitt. But a better serve there, high quality. Bit more cut on it.
That's terrific stuff from the 21-year-old. playing in his 5th Grand Slam against a man playing in his 51st. Courage under fire. Raonic, that's a good hold. 5-4.
Some more work on this ball as well. So Hewitt's got to play it above shoulder height. Can't get any real pace on it. And Raonic with his favourite forehand. Just loves that one. Gets plenty of opportunities to play it because of the quality of his serve to the backhand court.
Gee, you hold your breath every time. Not only Leighton Hewitt, but any player goes into that splits position.
Yeah.
You've just got to make sure that the weight's a bit more on the back foot, otherwise anything could happen there.
We've seen a few players go over on their ankle, but fortunately not from sliding. A few times it's when they've been wrong-footed.
Yep.
And I'm with you, though. I don't like seeing that at all.
Time.
Very much an even money bet, this 3rd set. Well, the whole match is an even money bet. It's hanging on this period of the match. A huge advantage to Hewitt in particular if he can take this set. Raonic's chances will increase incrementally if he can. So it's not overstating things to say that this is probably going to be the decisive period. Leighton Hewitt doing better in service games won than his tournament history.
Forced to play a difficult overhead.
15 love.
Always had a good smash. Most lobs go over the backhand corner, so that's what you're looking for, but this one goes down over the forehand, so more difficult to get side on when you're moving across that way. And you figured Leighton was going to out-rally him.
30-15.
11 shots in that last rally. There haven't been too many long ones in this match. Talk about big points.
That was a well-played point from Raonic, corner to corner. Hewitt needs a first serve here.
Another wild one.
Well, he just doesn't have the same control in the rallies, obviously, as Hewitt does. That's Hewitt's game. It's not Raonic's game. That's why you said when he rallies going up to double figures, it's not his game.
drawing closer to a third set tiebreak? And if so,
5
will the serve of Milos Raonic be a factor? Just looking ahead in case we happen to get there, Raonic has won 2 out of every 3 tiebreaks that he's played in his young career. Hewitt's about a 50-50 record, just a bit better than that. That's perfect.
Well, he was a little bit fortunate. It wasn't hit all that cleanly. That's the one he doesn't like. It just dropped on the line.
How about that winner count? The ratio is 4-1.
Let's first song.
Well, the gun had it at 196, but it looked quicker than that.
Sounded quicker than that too.
It did.
All square Raonic is. 41 winners, 41 errors.
That one was 224 down the middle.
Well, finding the range just when he needs it here, getting to the critical stage of this third set. 2 big serves.
You wonder how much of a factor that will be in the breaker if we get to it as well. Could earn him a few free points. That is a very comprehensive service game. That last one at 226. Raonic is the first to 6. Hewitt in a moment serving to try and get us to a third set tiebreak.
On your point about the tiebreak, the serves is a huge factor, and you can miss a few first serves in a service game and still win the serve, and it doesn't hurt you. You miss a few in the tiebreak because every point is more critical. So you would have to think it could be a factor.
We work through this patch of the match where things are so vital, so critical, and still nothing resolved. Fergus Murphy in the chair has had the best seat in the house. Hasn't had much to do at this stage, which is good. Don't like to see the chair umpires involved at all. That was the case last night, right up until the start of the 5th set, and then things got a little testy. Pressure's on. Leighton Hewitt serving to take it to a third set tiebreak.
Well, he stayed with him in that rally and then outplayed him at the end of it.
What a brilliant shot. Nearly hit both the lines. Set up again by the wide serve from Hewitt.
Using his experience, just knowing when to come in. Doesn't come in that often, but when he does, it's on his terms, and he usually has a straightforward volley like that. Previous backhand down the line. There's Hewitt. That's his favourite shot. Just as accurate.
That was only 137. He's still got a little bit of breathing space, but it's making things just a fraction uncomfortable for Hewitt and his Australian army of fans. Shot to play in that circumstance from where he was, and that means we do get to that tie break, which has seemed really inevitable for about the last 6 games.
A very poor choice of shot there from Raonic. I mean, Hewitt's still one of the fastest players in the game. I mean, he's going to get to this just moving up in second gear.
Now, their tie break record we spoke about, rolling 30 and 15 for Raonic, and this year he's 3 and 1, so he's got an even better percentage in the breakers. Hewitt's 149 won, 136 lost, so about 50-50.
Hewitt challenging the call, left service line. Ball was called in.
Well, that's good use of a challenge by Hewitt. Even if he's not successful, you may as well have a look at it,
1-0.
because he's got 4 challenges in the tie break. So if there was the slightest doubt, then he needed to have a look at it.
There's a let up for him. 128 second serve, and missed. The return missed.
So that second serve was 97 kilometres an hour slower than the first ace of the tie break. He can come up with some big serves of his own. That one was 189, so that's only 1 click shy of his quickest of the match.
I like the way now he's serving down the tee, though. He served a lot out wide on that first court. He's got his man looking for that one. And Hewitt's now getting him with the one down the centre. So really smart serving from Leighton Hewitt. himself there. Great chance. The ball just in general play, ground stroke rally. Really annoyed with himself.
Three, two.
And that's why he's so annoyed. There was a point he was really in that last one. Felt he could have won it. Didn't, and then the next one disappears in a flash.
Well, this is exactly what we were talking about with Raonic and the advantage that he has in the breaker. That's 2 aces so far.
Three all.
Change ends after 6 points. So 1 set all, 6 games all, 3 points all. Doesn't come much tighter than this. And to emphasise that point, there's only 2 points the difference in the points won. Raonic has won 94, Hewitt has won 92 for the match. Everyone's just been moving a little bit further towards the front of their seat for about the last 20 or 25 minutes to see which way this third set is going to unfold. And we're still none the wiser. That's just his 4th ace of the match.
But he's got Raonic confused. Not sure where this serve's going on the first court now. That switch of attack by Hewitt's really paid dividends.
By the way, that was by far his quickest of the match as well. 197.
He's just warming up. Could be the telling serve in this telling point.
Might be curtains for his chances. Got to get a first serve in here.
Too risky. Beck's on her feet. I mean, he just couldn't do that at 5-3 down.
No.
Too risky a shot. I mean, if you miss it, you're down 3 set points.
And that's exactly what he is.
So once again, Hewitt rock solid there, refusing to miss.
Hewitt backs away from the line as the crowd gets involved. He's just asking for a towel. The seagull has left its mark, I think. And Leighton Hewitt might be about to leave his mark. For a lead of 2 sets to 1 and to make life very difficult for the 21-year-old Canadian. Premature celebration in the crowd there.
It was.
Hewitt.
Last 3 points going against the server.
And when you have a big lead like that in a tie break, you want to finish it with the first one. You don't want to miss that one and then have to... You don't want it to tighten up at all.
late call.
This is what happens. Let that first one slip. The pressure builds. And a nervy forehand he played there.
Hewitt.
Still got one left, but that's not on his serve now. Rachie, a little shake of the head. He knows.
What he wouldn't give for ace number 18 here. He got himself into a tangle, and now he's in a real bind. Leighton Hewitt has taken a 2-1 lead. We've been going 2 hours and 20 minutes, and life is going to be very tough for Milos Raonic from now on in. How much has Raonic got left in the tank? He's only ever been to 5 sets once, and that's in Davis Cup play.
Love 15.
As well as testing him physically, there's a mental component for him to deal with here. Absorb the disappointment of dropping that third set. Could have gone either way.
What a pickup.
Too bad an approach. And he comes, and when Hewitt makes contact, it's just above ankle height. Outstanding pass there. Scramble and just get so many balls back. What a terrier.
It's been the hallmark of his career, really.
30-15.
And he simply just makes you play one more ball and then one more ball again.
Just couldn't do enough with that ball that Hewitt scrambled back. It was low.
Carlo Blanco looking a lot more concerned than he was early on in this match when the big serve was happening. Leighton's got one of his own. Ace number 4 for the Australian. That one at 190.
Fourth set.
So he does what he had to do with the first game, and that puts even more doubts into the mind of Milos Raonic.
Well, he just has to hold firm here. No time to get feel a bit sorry for yourself and what could have been and should have been. That's all in the past. He's got to play a good service game here and make a statement.
What a great view from Spider Cam high up on Rod Laver Arena, zooming down to join the players at court level.
once again, Hewitt keeping the point alive when all looked lost.
15 love.
And Rolling, we talk about 5 sets being unfamiliar territory for young players like Raonic. 4 sets is unfamiliar territory for them.
Well, and certainly, as we said last year, he missed a lot of tennis after a hip injury, so he's still very raw on the circuit. It's going to be around for a while, though. So much talent, and particularly behind that serve. He's going to make an impact, I feel, at some point.
In some ways, there's a bit of a parallel with him coming into the ranks now and Raonic when he came into the ranks. Everyone talked about Raonic with his huge serve, and it was his big weapon for a long time. But Raonic was smart enough to realise that it wasn't only going to be about the serve, and he came up with an all-round game that has stood him in good stead for more than a decade now. That's in.
Well, a little bit off centre, I think. Otherwise,
so.
I'm not sure you could produce an angle like that. See, it didn't catch the centre of the strings, just below the sweet spot. This is not the statement Raonic wanted, down a break point. Oh, nice and calm there.
Mr. Hewitt challenging the call, right service line. Ball was called in.
I give them a fair bit of latitude to make the challenge these days.
Yeah, I'm not sure you should be allowed to walk up and try and find a mark and then say, well, I think I'll challenge.
No need to challenge that.
Well, particularly when we saw the toss of the coin, referee or umpire Fergus Murphy said challenge immediately. Not up to you walk up and have a look.
A little bit of luck, but it was probably going to be a winner anyway. And that's a mighty good hold from Raonic down a break point to hold and level up at one game apiece. The other thing about the challenges, which always mystifies me, is when the player asks the chair umpire what their opinion is.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost a form of coaching. He said, well, it's pretty close, challenge if you want to. Well, hang on. You're only there to adjudicate, call the score, not assist the players. I think they should stop that. I don't think the players should be able to ask them at all.
Well, it's self-evident what the chair umpire thinks because they have not overruled the call which has just been made. So it's one of the most pointless exercises in sport.
And we know it's close. They often say, oh, it's close. Well, we know that. Otherwise, the player wouldn't be considering challenging. Anyway, it was a very good effort after all of that for Raonic to hold his serve from the break point down. It was just a desperate thing. He had to do it.
15 all.
A good adjustment there from Hewitt. All set to play a ball coming onto him quickly, and then had to hesitate once the ball caught the tape. Doesn't have a confident look on his face, Garlo Blanco.
But we did see him looking worried early on, keeping to the coach's handbook. As great a fighter as he's been, Leighton Hewitt, I just seem to recall there have been some instances where he's got into the fourth set of a match that you think he's going to win, you think he's got the momentum. This is here at the Australian Open I'm talking about. Just every now and then, the match has had to go to 5 to get it done. We stay on serve. Another pump of the fist from Hewitt. The arm wrestle in the fourth set is in its early stages. Hewitt 2-1.
Couple of sloppy backhands there from Raonic. Can play some big groundies, but there's also some loose ones from him, allowing Hewitt quite a few free points.
Hewitt's first serve percentage started off very strongly. 63% of serves into play in the first set. It's down to 56, but that's a number that he'll very much be able to live with. Raonic's first serve percentage started at 52. It is currently at 52. Leighton Hewitt in 2012 breaks the all-time record for the most consecutive appearances at the Australian Open Championships, eclipsing the mark set by Jack Crawford and Harry Hopman, who played their 15th consecutive Australian Open Championships in 1940. Right on his shoelaces. It's a long way to bend down when you're that tall.
Well, Leighton's starting to pick a few first serves as the match has progressed. Been aced quite a bit, but he's also been able to get onto a few.
Oh, he's done it. That's one of the best shots that he's come up with tonight. He's got the fanatics up on their feet.
He seemed to stumble when he played that. Let's watch this here. He goes out, and you see his foot digs in. I don't know how he kept control of the racket head there when he was totally off balance. And look at Raonic, just can't believe it. There's the stumble. Amazing shot.
He's upset with himself because he covered so much ground and yet still got there in time to play the shot.
Here we go, Rusty. That's his nickname. That's what the fanatics are singing. Well, that was rather tired or awkward looking.
He might be running out of options here.
Well, there's just no footwork there.
2 break points to bring the end a bit closer. Oh dear. Well, Beck might be standing because this has got the feeling of a match that is now almost getting out of the reach of Milos Raonic.
Well, I think as you suggested, Pete, that third set, you could see his shoulders slump when he lost it, and he just hang on to the first serve. But Hewitt, the terrier that he is, he's just getting warmed up. He's running every ball down. He's just making Raonic play so many shots, and he just can't maintain the level.
That's what he does. He is an amazing player, Hewitt. When he plays people who are tiring, he seems to take it to another level. He almost seems to increase his intensity as the match goes on.
Well, he's clearly got better as the match has progressed. His first set in a bit was one of the, well, most ordinary sets I've seen him play. He looks worried. Now Hewitt switches the serve to the forehand again, so I just think he's got a little look of doubt on his face, the coach. It's more than worry, I think. I think he fears the worst.
Oh! 30-15.
It would seem as though Raonic's best hope at present is Leighton Hewitt throwing in another one of those games. He's thrown in a couple tonight. Poor service game in the 7th game of the first set, and then he was broken to love the break back in the 3rd set. It doesn't look likely to happen here. But the door just slightly ajar. Not that he's playing a bad game here, but just that error, taking it back to 30 all.
Well, he holds this game, and you pretty much think the match is over. Raonic gets back on serve with the big serve. He'll be lifted, and he's back in it. So 2 vital points coming up.
Too many times he's come up with those wild shots tonight. That is now unforced error number 50. To counter that, he's had 51 winners. Even Roche is starting to get the fist pump going.
You don't see him do that too often.
Nope. Oh, that's a great serve on a big point. It seems to be beyond Raonic now. Is Hewitt headed for victory? It's just one break. It looks more than that at 4-1, but it's going to be tough for the Canadian.
He looks eager to go. Change his shirt. He's ready. With that, no signs of tiredness or stress at all. And why would there be? He's got rid of all of that early in the match where he was all at sea. His form, he was mistiming shots.
In contrast, the look on the face of Milos Raonic for, as you said, since the end of that third set and probably even before that, has been very glum. The body language, which tells you a lot about what's going on in the sporting arena, has been indicating that the Canadian has been doing it tough.
He certainly hasn't recovered from that ball he missed. He was down 6-3 in the tie break. He got out of 2 of the set points.
Time.
Fanatics are giving it to Leighton. His support box is giving it to Leighton. The 15,000 strong crowd. He's got a bit on his side. Raonic must feel like a very lonely man at present. It's a long way back from here for the 21-year-old, but the first part of the equation is simple. He simply has to hold his serve here, or it's pretty much good night.
Well, he hasn't recovered from missing that easy ball. He saved 2 set points in the tie break, and then he was in a position to save the third. He netted it. That was the set, and he hasn't recovered.
Good start, 222. He's been down a break point in both his service games in this 4th set for 1 break. That's ace number 21. Just what the doctor ordered, really. 2 big first serves on the first 2 points.
Well, it doesn't really matter how well he serves now. He's got to be able to break serve to stay in the match. He can serve 3 aces a game the next couple of games. That's fine, but won't matter if he can't break back.
Well, it was a comprehensive service game, so at least he's making Hewitt come back with a bit of pressure on his arm, even though he's got the break.
4 games, 2-2.
He still needs to have full concentration engaged.
Well, Hewitt, we've seen him many times in these sort of situations where he's come from behind. Doesn't usually let too many matches slip when he's in this position. Well, that might lift him.
Love 15.
He needs something to get the spark.
Well, the time is now to go for your shots, isn't it?
Well, that's a start. As we said, he's just got a break in the next 2 games. Next 2 service games of Hewitt. Well, bad return there. Not much on the second serve with 133, and he mishit it.
15 all.
That's the sign of a tired player. When your timing goes off, when the speed of the ball is only that, he was lucky to get it back over the net. Good judgment from Hewitt. All set up again by that sliding serve, which has really served him well tonight.
30-15.
Yes, and when he thought his opponent was getting onto it, he changed to down the middle. And could have played that, but knew. Big point, the slider, and the second serve. By far his safest serve.
40-15. Let's first off.
Richard Gasquet of France is awaiting in the round of 16, and Hewitt is now just one game away from booking an appointment with him. 5-2.
5 games, 2-2.
So you were really wondering after the first set if Leighton Hewitt would be in this position. All the crowd were a bit stunned, I think. He really played an average first set, and that man looked too big, too strong. But typical Hewitt fashion, doggedness, the way he fights. And it would take some sort of effort to get back into this match by Raonic.
Time.
It's been another fighting performance from Leighton Hewitt. He looked a little bit scrappy early on, but it was only the one bad service game really in the first set. And then somehow he was able to impose himself at the end of the second, get himself out of a bit of a predicament in the third. And now he stands on the verge of the fourth round. Raonic serving to keep it going, 2-5. It sounds a lot, 2-5, but it's just one break.
Well, he looks a beaten man.
15 all.
He's just been worn down, frustrated by Hewitt's ability to just get most of the balls back, some unexpectedly, and also the improved form in Hewitt as the match has progressed.
At least he knows he's in good company. Hewitt's done that to a few over the years.
Easy to forget sometimes that he was #1 in the world for quite some time, winning Wimbledon and the US Open. So last year or so he's been really in trouble with injury. Hasn't really been able to play very much at all.
His ranking at the end of 2008, 67, then 22, then 54 at the end of 2010. His current ranking of 181 really doesn't mean anything because of all of those injuries, but even just take that into account. Take into account the previous rankings that he had at year's end. And he's about to reach the last 16 by the look of it. Not done just yet, though.
He's getting better and better as long as the match goes on.
Well, his winner count is up to 24 now. Remember, early on,
14.
it was very low. He only hit 6 winners in the first 2 sets. 18 in the next 2.
Get running.
So he's going to put the pressure back on Lleyton Hewitt. And even when you're playing in your 51st Grand Slam championship, your 16th successive Australian Open,
Hewitt leads 5 games.
it is a different equation when you are stepping up to the line and serving for the match. And it's one that makes even the very best nervous.
Well, that's what they think. They've loved his performance here after the first set.
That eases the squeeze so much, just getting that first point.
15 love.
Raonic, knowing it's now or never, just has to go for broke. He knows that. Look at the body language there. That's the most positive he's looked for about an hour. Roachie's been there and seen it all before, but by the look of it, it doesn't get any easier for him either. Late call. Hewitt electing not to challenge. Well, that's interesting. It was Hewitt who was the one who went for the shot when really it was up to Raonic. He was going to have to be the one to make the shot.
Well, full marks to him. He played a very solid point there. Percentage tennis. It was Hewitt who changed the line of flight by going down the line and found the net.
Now it's getting tense again all of a sudden. Hewitt very aggressive. This time it pays dividends. Even got Roachie out of his chair.
Well, you could just sense there he was going to refuse to miss the ball there. He was moving it around, but safely. Plenty of height over the net, plenty of spin. So there was just no way he was going to miss.
All of them willing a first serve in here. 2 points away from the fourth round.
See, he is feeling the pressure. Can't get the first serve in apart from the first point, and a little tentative there. This was a bit of a prod, this backhand.
Just reinforcing the fact that it's no ordinary service game when you're serving for the match. Doesn't matter who you are.
It was a help to get the first serve in, not that it won the point, but it took the pressure off the second ball.
Plenty of positive affirmation from his best mate, Peter Luchak, the man with whom he played doubles here at Melbourne Park this year. Interesting, there have been a few close calls and Hewitt has not gone to Hawkeye.
Oh, too anxious to get it back. He had his man on the move. And they're on their feet. He's really playing a good game here. Raonic, full marks to him. Hasn't rolled over here.
Break point number 2 for the Canadian to get us back on serve.
I do like the way he's mixed up his serving tonight. So many to the forehand, and then on some key points out wide to the backhand.
We've now gone beyond 3 hours in this match.
Just a bluff tactic, really, from Raonic. Hewitt loves a target. If you're going to come in, you have to have something special, not just a wing and a prayer.
2 break points seen off. Leighton Hewitt looking to make it through to the last 16. For the 7th time in Melbourne.
Full marks to him. As good a point as he's played for a while there. Sound off the ground strokes and attacked at the appropriate time. Hewitt on the stretch. And his man's perfectly positioned at the net.
To get it over, and it would have been very hard for it to come back. Gallo Blanco has been up and down a bit with his emotions throughout this match. He might be put out of his misery right here. Match point number 2. That's just quality. What a gripping game this 9th game is turning out to be.
Well, the crowd applauding him too. As well they should. What a great way he saved those 2 match points.
Showing a bit of composure for a guy playing in his 5th Grand Slam.
And plenty of courage too to go for these shots.
Deuce number 4. Got plenty of depth on it, landed about a foot or so inside the baseline. Gets plenty of positive affirmation from his support box. Is it going to be 3rd time lucky?
Well, on big points, you like to get one of your favourite shots to try to win you the point, and for Hewitt, one of his favourite shots is a smash. And he hardly ever misses one, so he was happy to see the lob go up.
It's the veterans' night. Yet again, he collapses to the floor on Rod Laver Arena. The emotion is written all over the face of Lleyton Hewitt. Great sportsmanship between the two. For the 7th time in Melbourne, Hewitt reaches the last 16. 3 hours and 6 minutes. Tonight, it's experience that triumphs over the enthusiasm of youth.
And what a reception the crowd has given him. They were pretty quiet to start with. It really was, for his standards, pretty ordinary in the first set. He couldn't time the ball, a lot of errors. And applause for Raonic as he leaves. He'll be back. He's already 24 in the world. He's headed for the top 20.
Yeah, the experience that he gained from that match tonight is going to stand him in good stead in his Grand Slam career. But it's Lleyton Hewitt fighting his way to the round of 16 again at Melbourne Park with a 4-set victory over Milos Raonic of Canada in 3 hours and 6 minutes.
Here at Melbourne Park.